So I'm Jackie from I like to call it the Con. Does everyone know about the Conservatorium at Sydney Uni? Down in Macquarie Street. We're 103 years old. We look like a castle. I call myself the princess. That's us. Jenna. My actual title is Marketing Comms Specialist, but the kids call me Director of Propaganda, which I quite like. And this is Jenna. She's our social media specialist for all of the university channels. So she knows more about social media than me, but I'm going to make it up. Are we allowed to send this presentation to them afterwards? Yeah. So there's lots of links to our channels that you can all like. So I get 158 extra likes on my Facebook page. Woohoo! But we will go through it now. If you want to interrupt and have questions, that's fine. Or you can save them to the end, we don't mind. So, does anyone know what that hall is called? Has anyone ever been to the Con? That's for bonus points. That's the Henry Verbruggen Concert Hall, which is part of the original Con, which is 103 years old, but it got renovated about 15 years ago, 500 seats. You're all invited to come down and hear a concert, but we'll go through that later. You've all got one of these. This is our traditional old school marketing called print. We don't do very much of this because we don't have very much money. Most of what we do is digital. That's why you're here. Right. So here's a bit of history. We are the music school of the University of Sydney. We're not quite the oldest in Australia. Melbourne beat us by a couple of years, but we like to think we're the better one. We turned 100 in 2015, so I started in October 2014. My first day on the job was, we need to launch a centenary. Right. Off we go. We do about 500 internal concerts a year, but we do about 2,500 per year. External recitals, AMEB, music exams, if any of you had to go through that. I'm sorry if you had to, but it's pretty scary. We also have 4 undergraduate degrees and 2 postgraduate degrees, so a master's coursework and a master's research, PhDs, and a Doctor of Musical Arts. So we're quite small compared to other faculties, but we have quite a lot of students. We have 1,000 music kids, which is fabulous. And our events are free, mostly, or ticketed. Any of you guys are allowed to come for free, which is exciting. The only exception is opera, because they're expensive to put on. If you see the front of this brochure, fully staged, so it's expensive. That's a little history of our concerts we do. So the Greenway series are our major ensembles, and they have like a 4-week cycle where they all perform. They're symphony orchestra, wind symphony, early music, modern music, choirs, Chinese music ensembles, the full gamut. We do 2 operas a year, fully staged. We have a chamber works program, which is our staff concerts. So these are guys that play in the Sydney Symphony, ACO, put on recitals for free for you guys, which is pretty cool. Wednesdays and Thursdays we have 2 lunch break concerts. We have a outreach program called Open Academy at the Con, and that's the little kids come from 5, sometimes younger, and come and do 2 Saturday concerts. Students do concerts and we have master classes, so it's pretty busy. There's just me at the Con. I have a fabulous central team behind me, but predominantly marketing is by one person. So when Jonathan approached us to see if you guys would love to help do some marketing for me, I went, yes, 150 marketing assistants. So pretty much I have to not only do student recruitment because we're a faculty, but market a humongous concerts program. Sometimes you think you've covered everyone and sometimes you forget one and you feel terrible, but you've got to keep going. So pretty busy. Here are all our social media channels, which if you are keen, you can all go and look on your computers now and like them. Otherwise you can do it later. Facebook is our major concerts promotion tool because it's free. We occasionally put paid ads behind some major concerts, particularly our first one, which you'll see in here, is one that the Chancellor comes to, and it's her concert, which is our season launch end of March with the Symphony Orchestra. So we might put not much money behind it, $50, maybe $100 behind an ad. That actually does quite well for us. seems not very much money, but it goes a long way. Twitter we use for mostly academic research related things, or we retweet things that Jenna's put on the central channels. YouTube is pretty popular for us, obviously, because our concerts will go up there and people like to see them. Instagram, you'll laugh. I think we're at 200 followers now. I actually lost the password for the con account, so I've been putting off for 2 years reinvigorating our Instagram account, but now I feel the need to come back to being a young person and getting in with the Instas. Jenna is now going to talk about tone of voice and the university channel, so I'm just going to swap microphone over for you.
Thank you. So I'm Jenna, I'm the university's social media specialist. You probably think that university has a social media team, but we don't, it's just me. So it's a big job. We have, I might go back to that because that's about the cons tone of voice. So we have pretty much every social media channel there is at the moment. Facebook, we've got close to 320,000 followers. We share mostly pics, videos of the uni and a lot of content created by our marketing team, so listicles. You would have seen a few lately with O Week, How to Uni, How to Make Friends at Uni, that kind of adulting type piece. Lots of cool things happening on campus, lots of student achievements, throwback Thursdays and things that create a bit of a sense of community on campus. So 80% of our followers on Facebook are current students. So the tone's very colloquial, very friendly, very relaxed and very young. So you see lots of GIFs and a little bit of cheekiness on that platform, but all above board and social media appropriate, of course. On Twitter, this channel's not as big, but it's mainly used to share our media stories and news articles. So it's mainly journalists that follow us on that channel. Twitter's also the channel where we find out about incidents on campus and bad press as well. Our Instagram's only about a year old, so it's growing pretty well. Very relaxed tone, lots of aspirational images and videos, lots of student regrams, and it's used a lot for events like Insta-meets and takeovers. Then LinkedIn. I think we have the second biggest following out of any uni in Australia on LinkedIn. It's still relaxed but more formal, business-like, used to share news articles and used to kind of spark debate about current issues. And then we have Snapchat, which was launched at Open Day last year. That's of course very young, very fun, lots of student takeovers, and Snapchat's now been to Norway, China, Japan, all over the world with our students, so it's more well-travelled than me already. Do you want to do this one? Oh yeah, sorry. So I think I've covered the tone of voice on most of the central channels. So Facebook's very young, kind of aimed at that kind of 18 to 24-year-olds. Twitter, obviously 140 characters, very short. News, content very snappy. Instagram's all about kind of creating that whole sort of Insta-famous vibe for the university. Don't you want to go here? Aren't we much more prettier than UNSW, basically? And LinkedIn is still quite relaxed. We tend to be relaxed on all of our channels, no use of jargon or big words, but it is a little bit more formal, being aimed at a business audience. So the cons channel, the tone of voice is very similar to ours. So the tones are pretty much the same for the con. However, on Facebook, they're sharing a lot of the concerts that are happening, a lot of achievements of students, and then also I've noticed that you guys share a lot of kind of music news articles and things happening in the wider world, which we don't really tend to do so much on the university channels. On Twitter, it's all about music news, retweets. Jackie will retweet my stuff on the central channel, events, and responding to student inquiries, which we do get a lot of on Twitter. And then Instagram, as we mentioned, is kind of, aren't we beautiful? Why don't you come here?
Now the fun bit. Okay, this is where you guys get busy. So, part of our pitch is we have so many concerts. There's one of me, there's 158 of you at current count, and I need help. And you guys, as part of a project, if you want to do this one and not the other one, because we're more fun, is to help come up with an idea of a plan for one of our concert series. I'm going to leave it up to you to choose which one you like. You might like the free lunchtime things, or you might like to work on our Greenway series, which are the big student ensemble concerts, which are all in here. Before you get started, I would love to see as many of you come down to the con. We've started concerts this week just so you can see the place, who the audience is, what the concerts are, what style of concerts they are, that sort of thing. Basically, we want more bums on seats. It's an old arts marketing term, and it applies to us because we run concerts. So, objection one is to increase our audience numbers. You can do either the Greenway series or the lunch breaks, or both if you're that keen. We need a new visual narrative. We have to stick to brand, which is the university look, but we're allowed to sometimes bend the rule depending on what day it is and how.
And on social media, brands kind of out the window, so you're free to do whatever you like there.
The only brand thing really is to keep it nice. So we don't want anything that wouldn't be appropriate on a university channel, but I'm sure you all understand that. So fun, videos, photos, that sort of stuff. Our students are very keen to be photographed. I've not met one when I've said, would you like to be in a student profile picture or something, to say no. They're musicians, they love photography, they love to share photos of themselves. I'd say narcissistic, but that's probably pushing it, but they're very good at self-promotion. So you will have no trouble approaching any student and saying, we're doing a project, do you mind if I photograph you or video, or would you like to be part of my project? They will not say no. If they do, I'm not sure how they got in the con. We obviously want to get more clicks to our events page on our website. Same with higher audience engagement. So we want people not only to come once, but to keep coming. The trouble with our audiences at the con, and it's probably a problem across most Sydney organisations, is the age of our audience. They're old. They have money, they're retired, they've got time. We would really love to get people your age, because you're all young and lovely, to come to our concerts because they're pretty cheap, if not free, and it's a great way to learn more about classical music. So that sort of idea, as you're working on your projects, is how do you engage younger people to come to a classical music concert? That should be at the forefront of whatever you do for us. Obviously, the last one is important if you're doing a social media thing, that we want to have engagement, so people are retweeting, reposting, and generally sharing and commenting on anything that we put on the cons channels. Resources. Obviously, I don't mind if you want to come and take photos or videos yourself, that's fine, but we do have stock images that I can put a selection into a Dropbox so you can all have the same thing and something to start with. I can give you stats from our social accounts so you know where we're beginning from and where you'd like it to go. Also audience numbers from last year and access to the con generally. So you can come once, you can come a few times. Just let me know if you want me to come and meet you beforehand and show the lay of the land. I'll also give you access to students and audiences so that you can get a bit of market research and that sort of thing about why they're coming to our concerts and that sort of general idea. Also lots of great music. What we expect, this is the academic bit. So Jonathan, Jenna and I came up with this little plan. So the project will be a strategy that has 3 months of ideas for a particular concert program. Mock-ups on, we'll send this around, so if you're photographing it's fine, but we'll send it around. Mock-ups for various platforms, mostly Facebook is our main thing, but also Twitter and Instagram because it's brand new. Examples of social media updates and clear examples that address the problem that we're trying to fix, which is get more bums on seats. And then in week 7, you get to come to the con, and the top 5 projects selected by Jonathan and the other academics will get to present to Jenna and I, and we get to choose who the winner is. Exciting.
And there's fireworks.
There is fireworks, you know, it'll be exciting. Woohoo! Free concerts, free music. We've got lots of music, we just don't have a lot of money for marketing. Yeah. We could like flick the lights on and off, something like that. We don't mind questions. I don't know how this works if you're in groups or how it works, but we don't mind questions generally, but if it's a general question, we will send it to Jonathan and say, here is a question and here's our answer, so everyone gets it in terms of equity. But if you want to send me a message, or Jenna, music related, con related, generally to me, Jenna is a social media expert, but send it to both of us so that we can see what questions and answers are coming in, so we can help you all through your project. Are there any questions for now? Hello.
Hi. One of the measurables, I suppose, is increase the audience. How
Yes.
is that measured, and how would we know whether they're successful?
What we haven't done much of is survey, because there's only me and I just haven't got time. That's something I would really love to do, and we have tools to do that. It's just a matter of actually manpower to do it. So if that's a part of the project that you want to work on and actually doing some market research or that sort of thing, I'm happy to help you with that. If it's even like seeing what a comparable concert it was last year for a piano lunch break concert compared to this year, it's a pretty rough estimate of things, but you know, if it triples in size because you guys have done a fantastic campaign, well, it's going to be pretty obvious that some marketing has happened. Yeah, that was an approximate answer. Any other questions?
I've got one.
Yes.
Jenny, you mentioned a takeover.
Yeah.
Can you just explain what a takeover is?
Yep. So on Snapchat, if you follow Sydney_uni on Snapchat, pretty much all of our Snapchat content is student takeovers. So that's basically when I give the password to a student when they're doing something cool and they take over the account. So there's not really many rules for what they have to do during that takeover, except for no swearing and no drugs and alcohol. But they just go crazy and give this sort of authentic experience of it's sort of going behind the scenes of what it's like to be a Sydney Uni student.
And would that be something that Jackie, you guys would
Absolutely.
be interested in doing? Yeah.
So we did this last year for our semester 2 opera, and literally we had 8 minutes and a stroppy stage manager, and I grabbed a student who now is quite good at Snapchat. I have no idea how to use it. Every time I have a go at it, I have to find a student to show me how to log in, but they're very good. And he just went, right, let's get some filters, let's get some things happening, and off he went. And we had 8 minutes and we got about 8 different opera guys on, including a dog. And that did pretty well for us. So.
Yeah. And I'm happy to send around examples of student takeovers, especially
Yeah.
from the con. And for Instagram, anyone that follows us on Instagram, we have, I think our biggest resource at the university is this talent that we have within our students. So we have students here, I mean, Margaret Zhang studies here, students that have 300 and something thousand followers on Instagram and really are, you know, Insta famous. So getting them to come to a concert at the con, getting them to come to an event, and then regramming those photos, that's what I meant by takeovers on Instagram. And that, I think, somebody saying something for you is more powerful than you saying it yourself. So it's all about sharing user-generated content.
Absolutely. Any other questions? Are people behind us?
And I might just add that I think the best submissions for this will utilise both the cons channels and the Central University channels. So you want to be creating content that will work on the cons channel, but I would see and want to pick up for my channels, because the university, obviously being, you know, the master brand, has the most amount of followers, so your content's going to get out to the most amount of people that way.